All the journalists on the call should have received an embargoed copy of our press release late Monday or earlier this morning. We have several people here today to make an announcement about the evolution of a one-of-a-kind organization aimed at supporting farmers in their conservation efforts. Before we turn things over to our spokespeople, I want to again ask that everyone mute their microphones and turn off your video feeds for now. We just want to make sure everyone can hear what's being said and can see who is speaking. Thank you for that. After each spokesperson presents remarks, we'll open things up for questions. At that point, if you have a question, simply unmute and ask. If for recording purposes you want to appear on the video screen, feel free to do that as well while you're asking your question. We will make sure everyone has an opportunity. We'll also provide a recording of this session on YouTube within an hour. Just search for Farmers for Sustainable Food to locate the video. So I think we're ready to get started. Each of the people you're about to hear from brings a unique perspective about the organization, and they demonstrate a diverse cross-section of partners. The first is Brey. Lauren?
Good morning. My name is Brey, and I'm the Director of Partnerships and Sustainability for the Dairy Business Association and Edge Dairy Farmer Cooperative based in Wisconsin. I also serve as the coordinator for a growing group of farms, organizations, and companies that promote and support farmer-led solutions to today's environmental challenges. The group, which was formed in 2016 as the Dairy Strong Sustainability Alliance, was organized around the goal of helping dairy farmers make tangible improvements to the environment and other aspects of their farms. Over the past 5 years, additional partners have joined us, including individual farms, farmer-led watershed conservation groups, food processors, food companies, and other corporations. Today, we are excited to announce the transformation of the Alliance into Farmers for Sustainable Food. The renaming of the organization reflects a broader focus, more innovative projects at the farm level, and a growingly diverse set of partners. Farmers for Sustainable Food, which is based here in Wisconsin, is the only collaborative nonprofit organization that provides resources, advocacy, support, and empowerment for farmers who are innovating and demonstrating sustainable farming practices. During the past year especially, the organization's work has become even more innovative, collaborative, and widespread. Our membership has grown beyond just the dairy community, and our work is beginning to expand beyond Wisconsin as well. The stated vision for Farmers for Sustainable Food is to have a sustainable food system in which farmers, their communities, and the environment thrive. And we are pursuing this through the mission of empowering farmers to develop and implement practical, innovative solutions collaboratively for environmental, economic, and social good. We serve as an incubator for farmers, processors, environmental groups, scientists, food companies, community leaders, and agricultural businesses to share ideas and develop innovative tools and processes that will create a stronger, more sustainable food system. Now I will turn it over to a few others who are instrumental to our organization. First up is Paul Cornett.
All right, thank you, Lauren, and thank you everyone for being here today. I am Paul Cornett. I'm a dairy farmer from Luxemburg and a member of the board for Farmers for Sustainable Food. I came to this group about a year and a half ago through Peninsula Pride Farms, one of the farmer-led watershed conservation groups that partners with Farmers for Sustainable Food. Now, when when Peninsula Pride Farms was getting organized about 5 years ago, I actually had very little involvement at the time. That view from a distance wound up giving me an interesting perspective on that group's evolution. Our events grew more polished, Our programs became better coordinated. Communication improved and eventually went digital with surveys and text alerts for field days and other events. I often wondered, we're a group of farmers who's got the time and the skills to be doing this kind of stuff. Well, that question was answered for me when a friend of mine on the Peninsula Pride board approached me about applying for the board of Farmers for Sustainable Food. Most of his sales pitch revolved around how the organization had been a key collaborator in providing resources, connections, and communication to get Peninsula Pride off the ground. And since joining Farmers for Sustainable Food, I've been nothing but impressed with the work our staff does to support progressive farmers who are trying to take ownership of environmental challenges. The support given to help manage Peninsula Pride and other groups allows us as farmers to focus on meaningful change, developing and improving innovative farming practices to meet those challenges. Good weather and the positive energy have led to remarkably wide adoption of cover crops and no-till and more in our community. Peninsula Pride recently completed our first impact study estimating reduced phosphorus loss from member farms that have been implementing some of these new practices, and the community response was overwhelmingly positive. Peninsula Pride is now getting started on a second broader impact study by collaborating with Farmers for Sustainable Food and other stakeholders. This is happening in other farmer-led groups as well. As we continue to find new ways to measure and increase our positive impact, farmers will be empowered to strengthen the food supply chain, support our communities, and protect the environment for all to achieve genuine sustainability and prosperity. It really is an exciting time. And with that, I would like to turn things over to Steve Richter.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Richter, and I work on the Nature Conservancy's agricultural projects in Wisconsin. It's great to be here with all of you today to share in this really significant milestone for Farmers for Sustainable Food. It's a group that has been really important in helping Wisconsin farmers pursue their conservation goals. The Nature Conservancy is a nonprofit conservation organization that has worked in Wisconsin for over 60 years, protecting and restoring the lands and waters of our great state. The Nature Conservancy works in every state, and we work in 70 nations. I work with colleagues throughout North America on sharing ideas and lessons learned from agricultural projects in each of our states. The Nature Conservancy recognizes that there are big challenges ahead in feeding a growing population and doing so, and to do this by also protecting our water, reducing the conversion of forests and grasslands throughout the world, and addressing climate change. These are big and really complex challenges, but I'm optimistic. And I love the challenge and working in collaboration with Farmers for Sustainable Food and with new partners I've met in the agriculture community, including all those on the call today. I feel confident we can make a difference, not only in our state, but across the nation. We need significant new partnerships, and the food and beverage companies throughout the globe are really ready and poised to join our effort. Farmers for Sustainable Food will really be that driver or that guiding force to bring this diverse set of partners together to make change. And what their staff never forgets is that a successful project requires the leadership and support of farmers. And farmers' ideas really must be heard and be integral to the success of the project. So the Nature Conservancy has been a member of Farmers for Sustainable Food since it's originated. And I've had the good fortune of really working side by side, literally daily, with Lauren, with Tim Trotter, and with colleague Jamie Fisher on putting these projects together since it's been since 2016, I believe. I've really observed a few things during that time. These folks, they make connections with people and organizations throughout the agricultural supply chain. And these connections are really genuine, and there's trusted relationships built. And the projects that we take part in are really incredibly well run. They're well structured. We share success, we have outcomes, and we really, I believe, are really all excited to work with one another. Together, we really are all about supporting the efforts of farmers. And we do this through the support and interaction with farmer-led groups in the state of Wisconsin. These farmer-led groups have really shown to be a great venue for farmers to learn and to use that learning to maximize the benefits of conservation practices. I'm really excited about what projects lie ahead and what new organizations are going to join this effort. And I really personally look forward to the continued efforts with all the new friends I've gotten to meet through the collaborations with Farmers for Sustainable Food. So thank you for including me in this celebration today. I'll turn it back to you, Jamie.
Greg Steele.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Greg Steele and I work as a dairy lending specialist with Compure Financial, a farm credit lender that operates across the upper Midwest and the country. I live in River Falls, Wisconsin, and I am on the board of directors for Farmers for Sustainable Food. It's exciting for me to be part of Farmers for Sustainable Food, which is leading the way in transforming agriculture by helping farmer-led watershed groups develop and implement practical solutions to environmental problems. These groups are expanding the use of innovative practices that meet both economic and social needs in our rural areas. The Farm Sustainability Project in southwestern Wisconsin that was referred to earlier is a great example of this. And furthermore, it impacts the livelihood of both livestock and grain farms alike. This project will demonstrate agriculture's commitment to the rural communities by engaging in local discussions on environmental stewardship. In addition, this project will help educate, build, and improve local and state government relationships. I see this as a key element because implementing practical farmer-led solutions to environmental concerns is far superior to increasing the costs associated with regulatory burdens on farming. Compure Financial feels so strongly about the impact of farmer-led watershed groups that with our Fund for Rural America, we have provided significant grant funds to Farmers for Sustainable Food to expand this innovative work. Another part of the farmer-led watershed groups that I also find very exciting is the fact these groups have developed key and important relationships that include the University of Wisconsin-Platteville and the University of Wisconsin-River Falls. Partnerships between the academic world and the farming community are invaluable since they bring new insights and understanding to adapt to the changing needs of agriculture and the communities they operate in. I'd also like to comment that Compure is very proud to be a charter member of Farmers for Sustainable Food and look forward to what's next. Thank you. And now I'll hand things back to Jamie Marr.
Thank you, Greg. I would ask all the spokespeople at this point to please turn your cameras back on. And we'll get to questions here from journalists. So if you can, please direct the question to one of the spokespeople, and please introduce yourself. And then to make sure we haven't missed anyone who has a question, I'll do a roll call at the end. So if anyone has a question, please present it.
Hi, this is Chris Hubbock. I'll throw this question out there for anyone. I'm just wondering if you can give us some examples, concrete examples of projects that have come about through this, and what does this actually mean in terms of environmental stewardship?
Lauren, would you like to answer that?
Sure, I can take that one. A few examples of projects. First of all, Greg did mention we have a project in Southwest Wisconsin with the Lafayette Ag Stewardship Alliance that also involves Grande Cheese and quite a few other partners who have come forward, and it's using several available tools that are out there for farmers to track what they're doing. We're also working with Southwest Wisconsin Technical College and a few of the farms in the project to look at their financials. So we're blending both environmental and financial analysis to get a better understanding of not only the environmental impact of conservation practices, but also the economic and financial impact of practices in regards to several different farming operations. So really trying to get a holistic view of what conservation means on the land to our local community and also to our economic sustainability. So trying to hit on the different pieces of sustainability. We are launching a project here in Northeast Wisconsin with Peninsula Pride Farms as well. And we are discussing projects with farms around the state of Wisconsin and also outside of the state. So I can't give too many specifics on those as they're still in kind of the beginning phases, but you'll definitely be hearing a lot more about those. And again, those projects are all using already established tools that are out there available for use, specifically Field to Market's Field Print platform on the environmental side. So that's how we are helping the farmers measure what they're doing in their fields to look at environmental impacts.
Thanks, Chris. Other questions? Others that might have a question? Steve, as we wait, maybe there'll be a question coming here, but can you speak to what you've seen? You mentioned some of this in your remarks, but what you've seen from the work that the farmer-led groups are doing, have been doing to date. We've got groups that are several years old now, and I know the Nature Conservancy has been there from the beginning for some of these.
Yeah, Jamie, I'd be happy to share some of those outcomes or successes. What I'm really proud of is that the farmers get together in their farmer-led groups. They discuss and learn from each other about ways that conservation practices can really work on their farm operations. And year after year, they're increasing the amount of acres of such practices, and they're increasing the participation rate or the number of farmers who are trying out such practices. I think one example, I think between the years 2019 farming season and the one that just ended in 2020, there was probably an additional 50,000 acres of reduced tillage, which is strip tilling or no-till planting, as well as an additional 50 or 1,000 acres or more of cover crops planted. That's putting in green or growing plants in the fall to overwinter, protecting our soils and building soil health. Those numbers are reflecting of the efforts in 6 of the farmer-led groups that Farmers for Sustainable Food, with the help of the Nature Conservancy, have really supported through providing ideas, technical assistance, and the funding that literally is matched 1-to-1 with the generous effort of the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture. So it's outcomes are happening. Successes are being tracked, and we're, I believe, like I noted in my comments, really poised for helping other organizations, private companies throughout North America learn from our efforts and join in the efforts of helping farmers put such practices on place across millions and millions of acres of farmland in North America.
Thank you, Steve. We did have a question come in through the chat, and Lauren, I would ask maybe you to answer this, but what makes this group unique compared to other national initiatives?
Sure, thanks, Jamie. Farmers for Sustainable Food is the only collaborative nonprofit organization that is providing resources for farmers and really being that boots on the ground support system. So it's all about bringing those resources that are available. We know there's lots of tools out there. I mentioned one of them earlier. There's a lot of organizations out there that maybe have sustainability initiatives or tools to track what you're doing on your farm or ideas for how to improve your practices. But we're really behind the scenes bringing those resources together to the farmer-led groups so they can be implemented on the farm, and then not only getting them implemented, but then helping the farmers document what they're doing in ways that make sense for those groups, because as we know, farmers are all unique and individual, and it's all about making this valuable not only for the farmers, but for the needs of those buying the products from our farms, for the food companies, and ultimately for the customers who are asking, what we're doing on our farms and how sustainable our practices really are. So it's, again, really a unique place for us to be that behind the scenes, boots on the ground, making things happen. So it's not just an idea, it's not just giving farmers things to do, it's really bringing resources to them to give them new ideas and then help them implement those ideas and document what they're doing, and then sharing that progress in their local community with other farmers and then beyond.
Thanks, Lauren. Chris, I see you have a follow-up question.
Yeah, if I can, for Paul, you mentioned a phosphorus study. I'm wondering if that's something that you can share, or if you can at least provide some more details about what that was and what you found.
Sure. I will do the best I can. Basically, Peninsula Pride partnered with the Nature Conservancy. A number of us as members submitted our nutrient management plans. And of course, our nutrient management plans utilize the UW's SNAP Plus software. we then individually went into the individual plans that featured some of the no-till and cover cropping practices that are new. Sort of backtracked and I guess you'd say changed them into the old practices. And that software, which is based on research, then spits out numbers as far as what estimated soil loss might be, what estimated phosphorus loss might be. I'm sorry to say I don't have the actual statistics in terms of what the estimated phosphorus loss reduction was. But it was pretty impressive. Media received it well around here. Maybe someone else on the call might have those numbers or remember some of them.
Paul, this is Jamie again. I do have those. I grabbed those. So, for example, the findings from that research show that farmers who were using strip tillage and no tillage, the potential reduction of phosphorus runoff was 50%, and the reduction in soil erosion was 60%. And we similar results have shown in some of the other farmer-led groups who have that data calculated to this point. And those are now being done annually. Other questions? I think we had one in the chat box. Greg, this might be for you. So from your perspective, why should other ag companies invest in this effort?
Well, the fact that Farmers for Sustainable Food is uniting the farming community with the local citizens of the community and having discussions about how they're improving their practices to make food production more sustainable and better for everyone is it's a win-win. That's probably the best way I can put it, Jamie.
Thanks, Greg. Other questions? Lauren, maybe you can simply talk about how others can get involved in this group. Is this exclusive? Is it open?
Sure, we have a membership for Farmers for Sustainable Food, so we are open to anybody with a connection to agriculture, and also have a membership level for anybody who doesn't maybe have a direct connection to agriculture but still is passionate about sustainability and supporting farmers in our efforts. So you can learn more by going to farmersforsustainablefood.com. Our membership information is available on the website, or contacting myself at lbrey@voiceofmilk.com, or my contact information is also on our website, and we'd be happy to share more. But it's really a great opportunity for anybody who is, again, passionate about supporting farmers and their efforts in conservation to get involved and help make it happen, not only here in Wisconsin, but outside of our state. And again, collaboratively, we need everybody to work together to continually improve and to make progress. So we'd love to have anybody join.
Lauren, you just mentioned again the growing beyond Wisconsin, and we have a follow-up question here about that. Can you speak a little bit more about how this group is growing beyond dairy as well and beyond Wisconsin's borders?
Yes. Again, one of the reasons that we wanted to have a more inclusive name in Farmers for Sustainable Food is that the farmer-led conservation groups we work with are not just dairy farmers. They're all kinds of farmers, whether there's hog farms, crop farms, any kinds of livestock. They're all members of the farmer-led conservation groups that we support through Farmers for Sustainable Food. So it's really, again, about working together. It's not just about improving dairy. We all need to work together. As farmers in our local communities, we work together. We might buy crops from a local, a neighbor crop farmer to feed our livestock, or provide manure to fertilize their crops. So it's important that the name is inclusive, and our projects are inclusive as well. We're not just looking at dairy, we're trying to look at farmers in local watersheds, but there are also some other projects that we're working on with food processors. So for example, outside of the state, we're trying to launch one with a cheese processor and some farms that supply them with milk. We've also talked with a group out in Minnesota that's doing a similar project, the HASP project with the Environmental Initiative Group. Midwest Dairy is also part of that project, and we are doing very similar things. So we've had many communications about how do we take the findings of each of our projects and maybe bring them together to tell a broader story about sustainability in the Midwest. So it's, again, not just specific to our state or to a certain commodity, but we're all learning from each other and trying to work together to make faster progress.